we go. Game on the line. A stumble. And from behind, he's taken down. And for the second straight year, the game ends on a sack.
Hey, welcome into Coming Off of the Edge. I am James Crease. Joined with me tonight is Jeff Bell.
Right.
What's going on, Jeff?
Not much. Excited to talk. You know, anytime we can get down and talk with friends, I am very ready to go.
And Corey Spala. What's up, Corey?
Shout out. Not much. What's good?
And thank you for all of you joining us this evening
Jack.
with a brand new kind of show, bringing you some fun and entertaining fantasy conversations to allow you, the viewer, a little bit of an escape from the daily grind of work, family, and the everyday hustle. Everybody's hustling, right, Corey?
Everybody's shuffling. Shout out whatever song that was.
Don't we always say everybody's out here scheming? Is that the thing?
We out here scheming. That's right. That's right.
For everyone out there that doesn't know who we are a part of a very special group of young and upcoming fantasy analysts, a group that was born out of hard work, laughs, and love for everything that is fantasy football. We are a part of a special group called the Chaos League. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a little chaotic, crazy. But what we did build out of fantasy was real relationships and friend stuff. You know, we joke, we laugh, we have a good time. We bounce fantasy ideas off each other, show credit, tweets, you name it, we do it. And we wanted to share a little bit of that with you on camera, live, maybe once a week. So once a week. Yeah, just once a week. We sit down, have a good time, and just kick it. Like, this is what it's all about. So without further ado, let's just kick it. We had a draft last week, a rookie draft that we actually kicked the show off with, and it was the Chaos rookie draft.
That's right. And before we kick it off, let's also kick in.
Oh,
nice.
Hey, I don't know what's going on. I saw a StreamYard link, so I figured I'd hop in. I got nothing else going on. How you guys doing tonight?
That's right.
Great.
What's going on? You see a StreamYard link and you just click. We'll see what it takes.
Coming up the edge. Dave, we're here to talk about...
I don't know what we're talking about.
Dave's here to boost our clicks.
Boost the clicks.
I am here to pump up tomorrow's episode of The Tilt is Real. I heard you guys have an awesome guest coming on tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah. Somebody. I think his name starts with a D. I don't know.
Yeah. Congrats on
check that out.
climbing.
Check that out tomorrow. I'm going to plug my show a little bit. Tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Dave Kluge coming in hot to talk about a little bit of what happened in that draft this past weekend.
Shout out Justin Fields.
That's right,
Justin
my boy.
Fields.
Let's go. Dave, we are in this journey together, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. I don't know if my jersey is going to be in from China by tomorrow, so well, maybe next time I come on, I'll have the Fields jersey.
I mean, I thought by now your popularity with the NFL and fantasy and everything like that, I'm surprised that Fields didn't mail you one already.
Oh, let's go.
I tried. I can't even get a follow back. Someday.
Oh, he will. I have faith.
He's too busy working. He's out there working, Dave. He's not following people.
Yeah, he's browsing Chicago.
Ready to be the Chicago Bears' first franchise quarterback since Sid Luckman or whoever it might be.
Was that like the 60s or something?
Jay Cutler, actually. Jay Cutler was technically a franchise quarterback, right? How do you define a franchise quarterback?
The quarterback for the franchise
for 7 years. Yeah,
franchise quarterback. I mean, at least 5. I would
How many
say 5.
playoff appearances?
If they pick up their 5th-year option and they've been on the team the whole 5 years from a rookie, that's how I classify a franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
I think they need a second deal.
Cutler made the playoffs. He made the playoffs a few times. He went to an NFC championship. You know,
I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Cutler was the franchise QB.
Franchise QB. Heard it here first.
All right. Well, here we are with Fields, though. But Dave, about talking 2021 rookies, just talking a little bit of that, and then childhood TV shows, your favorite ones.
All right.
And then we'll have a draft for
we'll have a little fun with the childhood TV shows, because we were thinking about it. Like, you sit back and you remember all the good times when you were a child. Like, no worries in the world, no stress. All you did was either watch TV, well, especially some of us in the 90s, watch TV, hung out with your friends outside. But when it got dark, you had to watch a show. Like, I know I wasn't allowed out after dark.
No.
That was
What
the
better
rule.
way to watch
these-
some shows?
This new generation doesn't get it. Like, we would just come home from school, mom would kick you out the front door, and just come home when the sun comes down, and that was it.
That's right. As long as the streetlights weren't on, you weren't in trouble.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I lived out in the country, so my growing up was very different. My friend was the TV, so I watched way too much TV.
You got some dark horse shows then for us, huh?
I don't know. I had 4 channels, so not really.
Oh,
Do
so
you
you're probably
remember-
the
Oh,
Jetsons
wow.
or something?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the old clicker? The click 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 TVs. I know I
Wow.
had one when I played my
They're
first.
aging me out here in these streets. Yeah,
I'll
know.
age myself here. My first Nintendo experience, I'll never forget it. I was like 6 or 7 years old, and my parents would not buy me a Nintendo, but my lovely aunt, always spoiled us as kids, went out and got us the first Nintendo. And when we brought it home, we had to play it on a black and white 13-channel clicker with an antenna sticking out of the TV. I think it was like a 13-inch. It was smaller than my Mac Pro monitor.
Okay, for sure.
Wow.
Yo, what was everyone's first video game system?
Nintendo.
Atari.
I had Super Nintendo for me.
Nice. I think I was 64.
I think we got some generations represented here. Or
Yeah, now I feel
little
old.
segments. We
I
just
feel
kinda
old.
little pockets.
That's
I mean,
I
true.
did
young,
a Duck
but
Hunt.
I'm a little
I had
old.
Duck Hunt before
Duck
a
Hunt.
Super Nintendo, if that counts.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
But that was like
I
with
had
the
that
orange-
before Super Nintendo.
That was a
And I
good
don't
one.
even, that hooked. I don't even remember how to play. Like, my dad would set it up. Like, we'd be like, "Hey, Dad, can you set up Duck Hunt?"
Yeah.
That played through Nintendo, right?
Yes.
Isn't that
That
what it was?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
It was
Yeah.
split on the
So-
Super. The Mario game was split with Duck Hunt.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
I
You
know.
had the
Who cares?
laser gun,
Sega-
and you'd put it up against the TV, and you'd scrape the TV with it.
You know the
Wow.
one system nobody ever talks about? You guys remember Sega CD? Like,
Yeah.
everybody
Sega
just forgot that Sega CD
Sega CD?
existed.
Well, because
I-
nobody bought
I
it,
had-
so that's why it didn't exist for very long. Nobody talks about it.
I had the twofer where you could play the Sega cassettes and the CD. It was like the Sega Genesis and Sega CD hybrid. That thing was awesome. Like, I've never even heard anybody talk about those. I don't know where I got this thing from. Probably a flea market on the south side of Chicago. I don't know if it was an actual Sega product, but you could play Sega Genesis and Sega CD games together.
Wow, look at
I've
that.
never heard of this.
Yeah.
it's-
Never
It's
heard
janky,
of it.
dude.
We're
Blast
doing
in the
some education
past.
out here on the streets.
That
today.
is, yeah. It doesn't get more ghetto than a Sega CD. That was for the kids that couldn't afford the PlayStations.
Yeah, but you know what?
So
The
you
Sega
must have had
CD,
this
when the
top
Sega
one here
CD
that
came
had-
out, it blew Nintendo Super NES out of the water for like
Yeah.
a month.
And then
PlayStation came out.
Dreamcast. Dreamcast came around and blew them all.
Okay, I know that one.
Dreamcast was awesome. Dreamcast was where it was at.
Oh man, here I am sitting there playing my Frogger on Atari, and my neighbor down the street's got
Frogger.
like Sega Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog, Mortal Kombat. I had nothing, and then
See-
I got the black and white version of Super Mario Brothers.
we were a straight Nintendo family, and then we went over to PlayStation. So I've been a Nintendo loyalist and a PlayStation loyalist since day one.
Wow.
So
I'm just a gamer
I-
loyalist in general. Like
Shut up.
I
I just
will probably
recently-
never stop playing video games.
I'm not a big gamer, but I just heard this story recently from my mom. My parents got divorced when I was young, early 2000s. So it was the first year that we had a split Christmas. And my mom found out that my dad got a PlayStation 2 for us, but wasn't going to let it leave our dad's house. So my mom found out about this and was distraught, newly single mother, didn't have a lot of money. My grandpa drove around to every single store on Christmas Eve. He went to like 10 different stores before he finally found a PlayStation 2 so he could wrap one up and give it to us to have at my mom's house that night on Christmas
Let's
Eve
go.
before we got it from my dad on Christmas morning.
Oh,
I just found that story out like a year
The
ago.
petty
I just
battle.
love it.
You love
Grandpa
that.
to the rescue, bro.
Love that. Oh, well,
Gotta love
nice.
Grandpa. Shout out Grandpa.
shout out Gramps. And well, hey, is that the grandpa that owns the pizza joint?
Is that FF
Yeah.
Gramps? I know
Dude,
FF
yeah.
Gramps.
Shout out the pizza joint. Man.
Yeah.
What is which?
Lido-
I already
Lido's
forgot it.
Pizza in LaGrange.
Dude.
Lido's Pizza.
My dad went there growing up. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But
They
hey,
sponsor all the T-ball teams.
That's
what
what
they
you were
do. They
saying.
sponsor
That's
like
right.
every T-ball team on the south side.
Dude, that just goes to show the Kluge family how just respectful you guys are.
we might need to
Uh,
make a Justin Fields pilgrimage to Soldier Field and check out the pizza place. I feel
Let's
like that.
go.
Still got the season tickets, man. I live in Colorado. I only get to go to a few games a year, but I'm still out there. So
But
I've
it's
been out
worth
here.
it.
I didn't get to go obviously last year because of COVID, but my first 2 years out here, I was still flew home for both Packers games.
That's right.
Trying to snake my way into some Giants tickets this year. At least one game. You have to go to one game. I was talking to G-Man Jay the other day about it, and Steffi Smalls. We're like, yo, we should all just get together and go to a game.
Why not? Get your vaccination.
She lands in Colorado tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep. Tomorrow
Oh, Lordy.
So we might be doing our Friday show together.
Make sure you have plenty of claws.
Yo, who would be the guest?
It's Mike Me Up. Mike.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's up, Brad?
How's it going, Brad?
He's going to be the guest this Friday.
Oh, our draft probably started. My bad, Brad. Here I am live. Sorry, I can't draft. But hey, welcome to the chaos. We're branding this show as NFL rookies and childhood TV shows, but here we are talking about video games.
Hey, this show is about anything we want to talk about. Like, what happened to your week? If there is something out there that you saw in fantasy, like I saw Zach Wilson drop to the 110 in a rookie draft, and my jaw almost hit the floor about the disrespect. But we all knew the background going into it, that he was boosted in value just because he went to the Jets. And then it seems like after the draft happened, his value came back down to life. Like, he's really not worth the first round in a super flex league.
Yeah, I saw the craziest thing I saw, and I tweeted about it yesterday. Najee Harris went 8th overall in a best ball draft. Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott still on the board, and somebody reached for Najee Harris. I could not believe it.
Dude, opportunity, bro. Steelers.
It's like, what do you do?
Opportunity is great, but an offensive line's better.
I'm just kidding.
What do you do when you're sitting there? Like I get the what if factor, because like a lot of people did it last year with Jonathan Taylor. Like I did it myself in the second round of a redraft, Superflex redraft. I took Jonathan Taylor behind Saquon Barkley. Now I thought I had the smash steal hit, but he took so long to actually be fantasy relevant. And then when he did, he flashed in the pan. By that time, Saquon was hurt. My team went to crap, and I lost the league. Like, and it was I run it. I'm the commissioner of that home league, and man, I was laughed at.
But that kind of speaks to the reality of what fantasy football is, because you're really just trying to weather the storm, make it through the season, not lose major pieces, and then you just get hot in the playoffs. So in regards, yeah, it was really hard to build that team around Jonathan Taylor through the regular season. But how many titles did he win people? Because he put people on their backs during the playoffs. And that's really what we remember. I remember David Johnson, his rookie year. I got him off waivers in the middle of the season. People just let him go. And I picked him up in several leagues, and he won me multiple titles. And that's the reality of what fantasy football is. You're just trying to weather the storm, get decent lineups out there week to week, hope the luck works in your favor, and then make the playoffs and hope to ride the lightning.
Ride it.
Ooh, lightning. Sounds chaotic.
That's one of the hardest takes to get over. You see it all the time. Like every single year, there's somebody who's like, hey, I think it's safe to go out and cut this player. And then like clockwork, that player just goes off the very next week. It almost always happens. So
I wish you didn't say that. That's one thing
I think
I cut Mike
I am
Boone
not going to
today,
be doing
Dave.
that at all.
I cut Mike Boone today. Watch him be the starting running back of the Denver Broncos by the preseason.
You're okay with that one, Dave.
Fourth string. He might be fourth string. I think you're okay cutting Mike Boone.
Yeah,
I told you to cut Mike Boone, so I'll take some of the heat for this.
I mean,
one.
I'll blame you. I blame myself. I mean, it was what I did, and it was from a startup. So I drafted him in the 20th round,
and it was worth it.
Fourth round of a startup, and I knew he was going to be a cut candidate when the rookies came out. And if I have Javonte Williams, I got to do what I got to do, man.
Keep him.
No,
keep him. It's Mike Boone. Shout out Mike Boone.
I'd keep Javonte Williams.
And Boone.
Who's that?
Boone has burned me. Everybody remembers him coming in and doing some things here or there. That's because Alexander Madison was hurt. He would have never hit the field if Madison didn't get hurt. And when he did, he screwed me in the playoffs. I put him in the game finals, not last year, the year before, so the 2019 season. I had Damien Williams sitting on my bench the week he went off for Kansas City, and I lost by 1.5. Mike Boone got me 5
2
points. Yeah. And Damien Williams scored over 25. I will never live that down for as long as I live, because we have bragging rights with a big trophy in one of my home leagues, man. And it was going to be my 3rd win in a row, and I just sucked so much.
So we talked about it last. we were talking about how you got David Johnson off of waivers in 2016. That same year, 2 years ago in 2019, I got Damien Williams off of waivers because he got injured, and then everyone thought that Darrell Williams was taking over, and I can't even remember. There was another running back in the mix. It was just
Spencer
Ware. Backfield.
It was Spencer
Ware. That's right.
Yeah.
They signed him mid-season, And then I just said, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm just going to pick Damien Williams up. And funny enough, the guy I was playing against in the championship had Mike Boone that week. I plugged in Damien Williams and just barely edged it out.
So that's some of my concern on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know, people are very high on him, think he's going to bounce back, but we're now 2 years deep outside of a couple spurts from that Kansas City offense of them not supporting running back one in fantasy. And what do you guys think about? Because I don't know. I just took him. We're doing this Girl Dads Charity League. And so I got him at the 12.2 or the 2.12. And I couldn't pass up that value. Yeah, the 12.2. It's steal. No. But I had CMC in my first pick, and CEH was about the only bell cow running back left. So I took him in that spot. Took Waller at 3.1. But do you guys feel like he's going to be a running back one this year? Or what do you guys stand on that?
I don't think I personally don't have the faith that he can hold up and be a workhorse in that system. We've never really seen a workhorse get through a full season in that Kansas City offense. He got banged up towards the end of the season. They blame it on the offensive line. I blame it on his size. What is he? 5'8", 195, very small, very agile, very elusive. I love his play style. It reminds me of Maurice Jones-Drew, but the simple fact that he is that small in today's NFL, I don't think he can hold up, and I do not think he'll give you RB1 numbers, but he will be in that RB2, mid-range RB2, hot with the high-end upside by the end of the season, I believe.
Yeah, I think he's going to have some weeks that he's going to smash. He's going to have some weeks where he's going to put up 35, but his floor is dangerously low.
Yes.
And, I mean, I mean, I'm going after him in best ball. I think the best ball, he's a great option. But yeah, those small running backs, you said it. That's exactly why Arizona went out and signed James Conner. Everybody was getting all hyped about Chase Edmonds. And you just don't see running backs that are 5'8", 5'9". Those guys don't become 3-down backs. It doesn't happen in today's NFL.
Rondell Moore, Kyler Murray backfield, ready to go. That's running back one.
Talk about 5'7".
But I mean, that's the whole evolution of the NFL right now. What's going on? We see it. I said it like a month ago, and people looked at me like, "Yeah, whatever, chef. You don't know what the hell you're talking about." But it's really coming to light the fact that every single team out there is building with running back by committee. The years of a workhorse running back are dying slowly but surely. Like, we may be looking at, theoretically, Dalvin Cook, Zeke, Saquon Barkley, and CMC being the last, and I'll throw Alvin Kamara in there too.
Come on.
As some of the last dying breed of running back workhorses.
Najee?
No, I don't think Najee Harris is a straight workhorse. I really don't. They're gonna bring somebody else in there. There are vets. They can make trades. And we saw every time they bring in the lead dog, like James Conner, he's not the best running back, but they do have Anthony McFarland in that offense. I still believe they have Jalen Samuels on the roster still as well. So, like,
they do.
If
I had to look that up
Najee Harris needs a break, they're going to bring in one of those guys.
Anthony McFarland.
McFarland doesn't know how to play running back is the problem. I think he's the most talented back up there, but he doesn't know what he's doing.
Their new offensive coordinator.
I actually don't know that I agree that everybody's moving to committee. What you're seeing, I think that teams that have that bell cow, Saquon with your Giants, teams that have that guy, they want that guy because of the versatility and because they're able to run different packages with him on the field, and you're not giving away scheme by moving personnel around. What you are seeing a lot more of is these running quarterbacks and also wide receivers getting involved in the run game, schemed up touches, screens, things like that. We see it with Laviska Shenault. I think Rondell Moore is going to be one of those type of guys in Arizona that they're going to figure out ways to get him the ball. And you're going to have these running backs too, in the red zone. Quarterback usage in the red zone for the run game has dramatically increased. We've seen the running quarterbacks do it, but we've also seen teams like the Colts running the Jacoby Brissett package, and obviously everybody's favorite team, the Saints, running the Taysom Hill package, just because the math favors that running quarterback so much in the red zone. You're stacking a helmet on a helmet, and you're getting a free guy there. So I do think that we're not seeing the end of committees. What we're seeing is a lot more teams. It seems like they're going to 3-way committees, which is new. Whereas a couple years ago in fantasy, I think we really did. Before we had the other thing that we've seen too is just historic levels of talent in the running back class. The last couple of classes coming in, last year's class was phenomenal, and they're going to anchor fantasy for the next 5 years. We also have guys like Saquon, CMC, these guys that came in, and really before those guys hit, you really did have it pushing towards every single team had a committee. Whereas that whole group, the talent level on that is so high, and the ability to scheme up different things with one running back in has really pushed it towards either you've got the bell cow or you're just a complete mess.
That makes a lot of sense, Jeff. So what you're saying is it may not just be the league as a whole going to committee. It's more or less the talent coming out of the rookie classes that really dictate what the offensive schemes are going to look like. I love that, man.
Yeah, yes.
I think another big thing is, and I think another big thing is you don't see a lot of running backs getting those big second contracts anymore. A lot of rookies now, they come into the league, they play their 4 or 5 years, and then they're done. And if they're going anywhere, it's to play a backup role. So, Jeff, you kind of hit on it. But, yeah, it used to be like a 2-person committee that you'd see in a lot of backfields. And you had your early down back that was getting the carries, and you had your third down pass-catching back that was going to get those touches. But now it seems like every team has, like, just a slew of running backs to choose from. We've got our short yardage goal line guy. We've got our pass-catching guy. We've got our pass-blocking guy. We've got our early down guy. And it just makes it really, really tough to find those guys. And yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to find out this year. I'm always looking for my running backs. I want the guys that have the safest floor possible. So when I'm looking at my rankings, that's pretty much what I'm looking at for redraft more than anything else is just opportunity above talent. So give me those guys like Chris Carson that people are sleeping on because Chris Carson's probably going to see 250, 260 carries this year, which is that alone is going to put him in top 10 for opportunity.
And there's a very real cliff. Like once guys like Carson go in your draft in the 3rd round, I don't think you shouldn't touch running back for rounds because you can still get the same type of guy. Like once those, Dave, your 0 wide receiver strategy is exactly right with what you have to do with redraft this year. Once you get those backs, it's going to be like I'm old enough. I played fantasy for 20 years, and it used to be the first 24 picks would basically be running backs, and it would just run the running backs off, and then people would get creative and start to take other things. But you need to have the exact same strategy because once you get past those guys in the 3rd round, there's nothing. And you're waiting until the 9th, 10th round to grab another guy.
I'm interested to see how redraft season plays out when I'm like in my home leagues, like with friends, because these industry drafts, people are going so heavy on running backs. You guys know I've been doing a ton of best ball drafts, and I'm not kidding when I say you make it to the end of 3 rounds, and there are maybe 6 wide receivers, maybe a quarterback, obviously the 3 tight ends, but in those first 3 rounds, you're looking at like 85 to 90% of the picks right now are running backs. So it's honestly making me rethink mine a little bit, and I've tried doing it where I'm like, let me try fading wide receiver or running backs early. Let me get the Tyreek Hills and the DK Metcalfs and those guys, and then what happens is the 4th round rolls around, and there are literally no running backs. Everybody you're looking at is somebody who's going to see maybe 120 touches this year.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Dave. I was in the best ball draft with you last night, and I was saying to myself almost the exact same thing. When we hit that 4th round, I was like, I'll be able to scoop somebody up. I mean, Kareem Hunt, he was good. He went in the end of the 3rd. Who was the next best person on that? Zach Moss. Yeah. Like, I can't build a league on Zach Moss. And last year, my strategy for best ball was go out and get those top receivers because the running backs were falling last year because there was a lot of question marks around David Montgomery, David Johnson, even Austin Eckler. He fell to late 2nd, early 3rd in some of the leagues, especially around this time. This year, it's not the case. People are on the scent of top-tier running backs, and they go out and get them fast. So just a note out there for people watching, go out and get your running backs early. Don't mess around this year.
All right, so, Dave, I'm going to bring up the Joe Mixon where you got him in the 6th round, right, of our recent Dynasty startup.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're looking at redraft
this
versus
This was like a week after season.
That's
after the season ended, yeah. And
so redraft versus Dynasty. As we're all saying here, it's obvious you got to take your running backs early. But in Dynasty, is taking a running back early, is that going to hinder yourself too much in the future? But grabbing it in what round? The 5th, the 6th round? A Mixon, a Zeke, if you're lucky enough for him to be there? How are you going to view that? Do you really want to go for a Zeke, a Mixon in the 3rd? Or are you okay with letting him be there in the 5 and 6, obviously, right?
No, and I try to like specify that when I write articles and when I talk about zero wide receiver. That's strictly for redraft purposes. If you go into a dynasty startup going after running backs early, that's going to be awesome for a year, and then you're screwed after that. I mean, when you look at it, wide receivers, they just have like an elite wide receiver is going to be in the league for almost 3 times as long as your average running back is. So I completely change up when I'm doing a dynasty startup. I look at it completely differently.
That's right.
I value young quarterbacks and wide receivers under the age of 27. Those are the guys that I'm trying to get in those early rounds, because you know that you're going to be able to kind of plug and play some older running backs. In that same league that I got Joe Mixon in the 6th, I believe I got David Johnson in like the 21st round or something like that. So what I like to do is get the guys that are going to anchor my team for years. Get, your Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Calvin Ridley's, get those young quarterbacks, young receivers, and then you can just kind of patch and plug in the running backs as the years progress.
And if you don't get those running backs in the beginning, there's always the next year draft that people are always forgetting when they get into dynasty, especially for like the first time, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a startup. I need my running backs. I'm going to try to win. Everybody wants to win now. Like for those experienced dynasty players, you realize you have to take a step back and really look at the big picture. Running backs die off 2 to 3 years. 4 to 5 tops. And like you said, Dave, the wide receivers, they are clutch. If they hit for life. I got Terry McLaurin off of waivers in a dynasty league 2 years ago. I mean, I had drafted him in the 28th round, and I dropped him and picked him back up before the league started, before the year started. And now he's worth at least a first-round pick in some dynasty leagues. 2 firsts. Yeah, that's right.
He's
2 firsts.
He's
today,
worth
right?
1.10 in Gesicki or something, right?
Yeah, Gesicki the 110 and next year's second rounder or something like that.
Something like that. Shout out Cooter.
That brings up my favorite maneuver. I call it the J Bell Gambit when I'm doing a super flex startup. So we have quarterbacks never come cheaper than in the draft, and we see the difference makers that at the top of this class. And so everybody's been in the draft, and the fire's off, and you get 3 or 4 people that, hey, love to move out of the first round. And so the move that I've done it in a league with you guys. I've done it in a couple leagues this year. If you're high enough that you're going to get one of those guys with your first pick, if you package and move up, so your second picks, whatever, you move in there and you get 2 of those quarterbacks. You have 2 franchise cornerstones that you're going to build around. And the key is if you slide a back end, a 7th or an 8th round pick, usually, so what I've done twice, I've traded my 2 and my 3 to do the gambit, get one of those quarterbacks at the top, and then slide in a 7th round pick. And so like in one draft, I got Kenny Galladay Jr. with my 7th round pick. So you're backing it up. You're losing that 2 and the 3, but you're still getting a solid guy. I think Jerry Jeudy was the other guy I got in another draft in that same range. So you're getting a young wide receiver with that other pick, and you're not really losing the depth that you think you would be losing off that move. But so many people want to move down, and it begs the question. There reaches some point where there's a saturation point where if everybody wants to move down, then the money ball, the cost effective move is to move up and take some of these guys that you wouldn't be able to. You walk in and you try to. We did it early, and it was George Kittle and Josh Jacobs where what was taken there, and I got Jeudy and I got like Lamar, I think it was. And so trying to make that trade in a season, nobody's going to do that deal, give up Lamar in a super flex dynasty league, but you can make that move in the draft, and it's something that I think everybody should consider.
Shout out J Bell Gambit. And that's mostly you're saying for quarterbacks?
Young quarterbacks. Okay. Young quarterbacks at the beginning of the year, it was 6 quarterbacks, and maybe Herbert was kind of there too. Now it's kind of down to 5 because with Deshaun Watson's questionable deal, but Lawrence and Justin Fields might be moving in there too, and Trey Lance too. And walk out of the draft with a couple of these guys, and you've got franchise cornerstones building for your superflex dynasty.
Even if Watson does get nicked with stuff that I really don't want to talk about, he does get nicked. Say he misses 8 games, he misses a year. I don't know. Half the season now is what, 7.5 or 8.5? Can they do that now because of the 17 games? Who the hell knows? Whatever amount of games he misses, it's not a guarantee that he comes back if he does miss time. But if he does come back, he is still that quarterback that you would want. So his value, I wouldn't do it. I mean, maybe in later startups, as we hear more news, his value is going to drop. And Jeff likes to play the market, and C-Dot, I know you do as well. when that market turns and it starts to go down, that's when you start to buy. And that's the whole thing. It's stock up, stock down in Dynasty. And we look for opportunities like that, especially in drafts, in startup drafts. Jeff, that's genius, man.
I like it.
The J-Bell Gambit.
Let me run one by you guys.
We got Gambited in the Chaos League? Is that what you're saying?
Called? What's yours called?
I didn't pull the Gambit in the Chaos League because we didn't really trade very much, but also the quarterbacks are so questionable there. The analyst league that we did earlier, I did it in that league. So I think I've got Dak and maybe Kyler Murray in that league.
And where did it pay off for you in rookie drafts? Because we did that rookie draft right after, right?
So I didn't take any rookie draft picks in that league.
Okay.
So and the other thing too, use that 7th round pick. There's so many good wide receivers that are falling, like Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk, that are falling. These good 2nd-year wide receivers that are falling in that 6th, 7th, 8th round range that you can just load up if you acquire picks to be in that range and just pepper them as many as you can.
Maybe DJ Chark. DJ Chark would have probably been a candidate for that too. He was around that area.
Dave, what were you going to say?
Well, it's not completely off topic, but this was something that I did a few years ago in a redraft league of mine. And I was talking, this was like before I had ever played Dynasty before in my home league. And I was talking to my buddy about how one of my best friends who's in this hometown league, trophy right here, 11 years going. But I was talking about how much value you can find in those mid rounds. And he was saying, no, I think that it's all comes down to the first 2 rounds. Like if you don't hit those first 2 picks, you're screwed. And it was just this argument going back and forth in the group chat for like a week. Finally he said, okay, put your money where your mouth is. He goes, you give me your first 2 picks and I'll give you picks 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I went into this draft with no first pick, no second pick. And then I had 2 in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Is that something you guys would do?
I would roll the dice.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so I got one. So I'm in a 4-team.
It worked out for me. I made the championship that year, for what it's worth. I mean,
shout out.
A couple of my picks busted, but yeah, I mean,
someone always gets hurt. Someone always, some situation always changes, and if the fact that you had those extra picks, as long as you know the value in those rounds, then you're going to hit on the value. Like I went running back heavy in a lot of leagues because I knew there weren't going to be a lot of running backs, and I knew the wide receiver sweet spot was in the late 3rd to the early 6th round. If you smash those rounds with extra picks, you're going to juice up your roster, and it's going to cover the point variation from those first 2 round picks. So yeah, Dave, I agree with you. Corey?
I love it.
Building off that Dave trade, I'm in a 4-team league, right? 4-team. During midseason last year, a player that was really doing well traded for Kamara from a guy, and he gave up his 1st, 2nd, maybe 3rd, and as well as his 2023 1st, 2nd, and 3rd to get Kamara. So that means we only are 5 keepers. So you are giving up a ton. I mean, just think about it. 4 teams. That's 4 picks in the first round. So a 3rd round pick technically is a 1st round pick in theory. So he gave up a lot just to get Kamara. He didn't end up winning it, but you got to make your push, I guess.
I love weird leagues like that where like you can't find any trade calculator that's going to tell you whether you should make that deal or not. Like it's just something that is
like
so
that chaos
unique.
League that we're in.
Yeah,
exactly. Right.
Put that in your calculator. See how that works out.
Hey, should we bring up?
I can't wait to see how the incompletions end up coming out. I mean, that's going to be
bring up that rookie draft, Corey, because like we have to get into it a little bit. I want to talk about this draft just a little bit, and we can mess around and make fun of each other's drafts because
laugh at my 105.
First off,
kicking myself
look
for
at that.
One.
Only 5. We only made it 5.03.
Can you zoom up? Can you zoom in a little bit to the top?
Bro,
it's a little small. Oh, can you zoom? Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Awesome.
Justin Fields. Oh, that's right. We had that whole thing planned, and Jeff was like, "Fuck you guys. I don't care. I'm taking
picks anyways." This is a 2 tight end premium, and like we have been talking about, I don't know if the elite quarterback is going to make that big of a difference, or if it's just going to be you can't play quarterbacks in the superflex spots. I have no idea. But I was thrilled to get Kyle Pitts in that spot. I was thrilled to get Rondale Moore at the 2.5. that Davis Mills pick. So the other thing too is to remember that we have some weird rules here. So even though you might look at these picks and you see, Terrence Marshall or Amon-Ra St. Brown still on the board when I took Mills, I had taken wide receiver previously and I wasn't allowed to take wide receiver again. But at the 3.1, quarterback value is questionable, but I think he landed in a spot where he could be playing. Puka Williams didn't age very well. He didn't get drafted, but Anthony Schwartz was a day 2 draft capital guy. He was with the Bengals, so him and Chris Evans, I think, are going to be competing for the Gio Bernard role. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, that brings up a good point, Jeff. And it was chaos, and it bit me really, really hard. I had some second round value that I thought I was going to smash on, and it didn't work out in my favor. Where was I? I drafted 107. I got Jamar Chase, which was great. But then I had to take a running back or a quarterback. No quarterbacks were worse. Yeah, it couldn't go back-to-back picks. I wound up with Jamie Newman in the 4th round, which stunk. It literally stunk.
He's in Philly,
Yeah, Kenny Gainwell's a big faller. When we did that drafts and all the preseason ones, he was landing in that 2.2 range through every single draft. Trey Sermon's kind of moved up there and replaced him, and he's really fallen in the drafts that I've already done a handful of drafts afterwards. Safe League started their rookie drafts yesterday, and I was in a bunch of those. So Kenny Gainwell's a guy that's really fallen off.
Yeah, I wish I took a guy like Trey Sermon, even Michael Carter.
You didn't know.
I would have been happy with both of them. Yeah, no, and that's the whole point.
Fun of doing it.
At the time, Gainwell was so intriguing, but who knew he was going to fall and then to the Eagles?
I'm happy.
Where did Sermon go?
I'm happy that Sermon went to Steffi Smalls.
Steffi got
Sermon. What about Sermon versus Michael Carter? I mean, it's something like a RBBC. We're talking about Salah. That he comes from the 49ers. Shanahan with his system. Who do you guys want, Michael Carter or Trey Sermon?
At value or just in a bubble?
Ty Johnson.
Just a bubble. You got each. You got to pick.
So in a bubble, I would take Trey Sermon. He was drafted higher, and I think he's just able to serve into a bigger workhorse role. At value right now, Michael Carter's falling about half a round further, if maybe even more than where Sermon's going. All these drafts I did yesterday, I'm telling you, Trey Sermon, it was a 1.12 in almost every single draft. People are taking him in the first round now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough.
No way.
Yeah.
That's rough. And something to keep in mind about our drafts. Again, this is not the holy grail of rookie drafts. We have unique, crazy rules. So if you're looking at us thinking we're crazy, we're not that crazy.
Yeah, we are very crazy.
We are chaotic.
Trevor Lawrence at the 104, man. I'm never going to get over that. Trevor Lawrence dropping a 104.
Trevor Lawrence at the 104. That exactly lets you know that we are legit out here.
Nate's just licking his chops right now.
He got Michael Carter. Speak of Nate. And Tylan Wallace in the 3rd, or Tylan Wallace.
Tylan Wallace, he's falling out too. So I got him at the 4.2 yesterday too.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw him go today in the mid 4th range. Actually,
Kyle Trask at 310. That's about right.
Yeah, I mean, I like Kyle Trask.
I've seen a couple second rounds.
I think Trask is going to be okay.
Mike. Nico Collins at 4.7.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That aged pretty well.
Mike went from the 101 to the 304. Is that what I'm saying?
309, dude.
309.
309.
You can almost flip those picks. Nico Collins and Jefferson. Jefferson has the bottom has fallen out of him too, but Nico Collins is going in that 3rd round range.
Yeah, he went to Detroit. That's rough, dude. I thought he was going to be something, man.
He doesn't have a lot of burst. I don't know.
It goes to show you how much I know. Cooter with 2 picks.
I got the
2 picks. You got 2 good picks, though.
Chuba and Hunter. Taylor just had Devontae Smith. That's it.
I mean, it was a one and done for him, huh?
And then there's me. Shout out Bateman, Frymouth. What happened to Brevin Jordan, dude?
He's weak. I mean, I don't know.
He's
in 7 years, Brevin Jordan.
He's just not a NFL tight end, I guess. He's a move tight end that's a good receiver, but he doesn't hold up at the impact block in terms of blocking. So
why didn't you tell me that at the time, man?
Well, I'm not a mind. I didn't. Nobody ever told me that we're trying to predict where guys get drafted. I thought we were just the guys that we like. So
that's funny. Right. He went to Houston, where they've had some success with tight end, but not really anything to show for it.
That's right.
I think Darren Fells was looking at going to. I think I can't remember now.
The Lions, I think.
The
Lions. Yeah.
The Lions.
Please don't do that, Darren Fells. I mean, unless you want to be just a line tight
Get
end.
that bag,
he's like
though.
35 already. I mean,
Get that bag.
us mid-30 guys, I respect for him, but he's older than people realize.
Dude, he's old.
Fells?
That's fun.
Yeah. It's all good. Who else is old out there? Is Delanie Walker still out playing?
Zach Ertz is still playing somewhere. Whether or not he plays for the Eagles, who knows?
Is he? Yeah, he's old.
I know he opted out last year. Now he's coming back this year. I just read that story recently. I don't know if he's with anybody now, but yeah, he opted out because of the whole thing last year. Now I think he's coming back. Now still a free agent, unfortunately. But
that brings up a good point, though. How many of those players that were good in 2019 that opted out in 2020 are actually going to have a fantasy impact in 2021? Like one name that brings to mind is Damien Williams.
Bears got two of them. Goodwin and Williams.
Yeah, I mean, who else really that sticks out? Like off the top of your head, guys, do you know? Like I know we don't have a show sheet here. We're flying
probably
off
a defender.
Yeah, I was going to say the whole
like half the Patriots opted out. Brandon Merriweather. It was a whole bunch of Hightower.
Tackle.
Jets linebacker. Mosley opted out. It was a bunch of linemen and a bunch of defensive players, really, because we talked about it. I mean, we saw it last year. Damien Williams was the only fantasy relevant player really that opted out, and I think he's overqualified. I love what the Bears have done this offseason. He's overqualified for the role that he's there, and it was a good pickup as long as he can bounce back.
Shout out Khalil Herbert, too.
He's going to throw some shade on Montgomery's game, I think, a little bit.
Maybe he's there for the Super Bowl.
Or Tariq Cohen, one of the two.
Maybe.
I'm coming back. I'm starting to lean back towards Montgomery. I've been fading that man hard all of last year, all of this offseason. But Justin Fields, they invested in the offensive line. I know that Tariq Cohen is still going to be a pain in the butt, but man, I'm starting to look at it right now, especially when I'm looking at these drafts. We talked about it. That's where that fall off is. Chris Carson, David Montgomery, and then after that, that's when it drops to, the Mike Davises and Kareem Hunt. So David Montgomery, I think he could end up. And I've been gobbling up some Mike Davis too, but I think David Montgomery is actually, at this point, he is so undervalued that I think he could actually live up to, if not exceed his ADP right now.
Yo, Dave, I got a question for you about Justin Fields.
Let's hear it. No. I mean,
is he the best Bears quarterback ever right now?
Do you want me to get into this right now? Because I don't want to break Jeff's
That's why here, man. Come off the edge with it.
Let's go. Justin Fields, best quarterback for the Bears.
We're gonna roast Justin Fields, and we're not. I'm gonna meet.
No. Not at all. I'm not roasting.
I thought we were in this journey together.
Can I just pull him up?
I am roasting the Bears fans and the Chicago media and the organization. We have seen this. Kate McNown, Mitch Trubisky, Jay Cutler, Rex Grossman. Like how many times have there been? Kyle Orton. I think he was like a 6th-round pick. He actually worked out. But I'm talking about all of these guys that have premium draft capital, all the potential in the world, come to Chicago and then just get destroyed. So my prediction right now, and I know Jeff is going to disagree with me, but with Mitch Trubisky, they said, hey, we're going to sit Trubisky for the year. That's why we brought in Mike Glennon, let him develop a little bit. And by week 5, the fans, the media, everyone was screaming, you just wasted the 2nd overall pick on this kid and you're not even going to play him. So what do? They put him out in the 4th quarter of a bloodbath. How is that helping develop a quarterback? That's exactly what they do. They did it with Rex Grossman. They did it with Cade McNown. So my guess is that we're going to see the Bears get off to a 1-3, 1-4, 1-5 start, something terrible like that. The fans, the media, everyone's going to be calling for Justin Fields. And the first time we're going to see Fields hit the field in Soldier Field is going to be in the 4th quarter of a 20-point game.
Field.
Yeah, Soldier Field, taking the field, Justin Fields. But it's a tale as old as time.
Soldier Fields.
I feel bad for Andy Dalton because he is the one that's going to be taking those hits until like you said, the 3rd, 4th, 5th week. How many hits can Andy Dalton take? We saw him, get knocked around in Dallas last year and Ben DiNucci come in and take over while he was injured. But I mean, they still have Nick Foles on the roster, right, Dave? And do you think they use that as a punching bag stepping stone for Justin Fields to really, say, Fields isn't ready yet, I want to hold off on him, and we want to build our franchise around him? We still have these 2 older guys to use as punching bags until Fields is ready to progress to the next level.
And that's exactly what I want. I think that Justin Fields should head into week 1, 3rd quarterback on the depth chart. I think it should be Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields, but I don't think the team is ready to just plug him in right now. So I'd like to see, them continue to develop a team around him. I know Jeff strongly disagrees. Jeff thinks that he's just going to walk in there and just throw it on the table.
Here is my deal.
All right, Ohio State, let's go.
Here is my deal. So
Ohio
Matt
State.
Nagy, if he follows your plan, he's getting canned in week 4. So he knows it too. If he's trotting Andy Dalton out there to get smacked around for the first 4 weeks of the season, he is the first coach fired. Justin Camp is going to win the job out of camp. He's going to be the week 1 starter because Nagy knows this is his only shot to keep this job, and Pace knows the same thing. So they're not going to allow Andy Dalton or Nick Foles to get them fired in the first month of the season, and they're going to roll with Foles, and they're going to hope that there's enough promise there.
Roll with Foles?
People let him go.
Dalton.
Fields.
With Foles?
With Fields.
You're saying Foles is starting?
Yeah, Fields is going to be the week 1 starter.
Oh my God, who's starting?
No, Justin Fields is going to be the week 1 starter.
Absolutely, I agree. You should start your rookie quarterback, man. He's dope. Start him. If he
so
doesn't,
you think they try to with that plan in mind? Do you think they try to trade Foles out?
Too much money, too much guaranteed money.
He's
or Dalton
like
now.
$8 million this year. I don't think they could trade
just keep both of them on the roster.
You gotta. Yeah,
I think they keep them both. Yeah,
and they could coach him.
And Jeff, I hope you're right. I really do. And you probably know, being an Ohio State guy, why don't you try to pump a little bit of optimism into me? So my fear right now is I've seen this. Like, the Chicago media is terrible. Chicago fans are terrible. And like, I say that as somebody who is a Chicago fan, and I'm from Chicago, but they are just brutal. They have such a short fuse. They don't have any sort of patience. So do you think that if he goes out there, because you know what's going to happen, if he has one bad game, he's going to be getting booed. Like that's what fans do in Chicago. He's going to throw a pick as a rookie and he'll be getting booed. Is he the type of guy that's going to be able to stand up to that scrutiny if it doesn't get off to a perfect start?
So I'm going to go not to my Ohio State fandom to boost you up, but I'm going to go to my Buffalo Bill fandom to boost you up, because I think that I can very much relate to you. We have lived the same 20 years of mediocrity at the quarterback position. And Justin Fields is going to be, the fans are just so excited about him, and he's provides such a boost that I don't believe that even if he has a bad game, I just think that you guys are behind him. I think he's got a magnetic personality that he's going to capture the hearts of the fan base. And I think you guys are going to be pulling for him. I really don't think you're going to be booing him on his first bad game. And that's just the way I see it. He very much reminds me of Josh Allen in Buffalo. So they're both very raw quarterbacks, but they do fit the ethos of the city. Justin Fields is a very hard worker. He's very down to earth. I think that he's going to embrace the city. He's a star. And Chicago's weird because it's the third biggest city in America, but I feel like people that don't realize it. And you know that we've seen Michael Jordan take over there. We've seen the Cubs, what they've done with the city.
Blackhawks,
the Blackhawks too. The stage is set for a new star in Chicago, and I think it's going to be Justin Fields.
Man, I really hope you're right. I mean, I'm like I said, I feel like.
Sure.
God damn you, Chef. Come on, man. Why you got to bring up Derrick Rose? Come on, man.
I don't know, man. I didn't even know he was a Knick until I was watching the basketball. I don't watch basketball really too much anymore. But I was at a family function, and my nephew was sitting there watching the NBA. They're like, "Oh, the Knicks are on." I'm like, "Man, I haven't watched the Knicks in years." And I'm like, "Wait, Derrick Rose is a Knick?"
There, and now he's got long dreads.
He's got long dreads. He's just rocking.
I think
MVP.
I think Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo worked out okay, though. I think that winning a World Series for the Cubs, I think they did okay. So I think the Derrick Rose curse has been broken in that city.
I hope so, man. But yeah, this is actually his second stint with the Knicks. He got traded from Chicago to the Knicks, and then Tom Thibodeau got fired and went to Minnesota, and then Tom Thibodeau traded to bring him to Minnesota. Then Tom Thibodeau went to the Knicks and brought Derrick Rose with him again. So Derrick Rose, man, he's just been getting bounced all over the NBA the last few years. I feel bad for him.
He looked pretty good, though. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he's still got it.
Still doing his thing.
Yeah, he's still got it, absolutely. Like, he's never going to be that pure point guard, but if you want somebody that can still, rattle the rim and get up, like, even after he's got 2 bionic knees at this point, he can still jump out of the gym. It's unbelievable.
I just to bring it back full circle, though, Jeff, you make a good point, man. There really isn't a face for Chicago sports that has hit in the past couple years. And Justin Fields drafting, like, Chicago Bears moving up to number 11 to go get him. it says a lot about the trust of the GMs. And I know we joked around in our group chat about Chicago and Ryan Pace. No, the coach. I'm sorry. Matt Nagy. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot Matt Nagy's name. Getting a permission slip signed by ownership to actually go up and get him. But it makes sense that he was one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. I love Lance and Trevor Lawrence. We all know what kind of talent he has. But the fact that Chicago made the gut check move and gave away a first-round pick to go up and get him should say a lot to the team, should say a lot to the fans and the city, saying, this is going to be our guy. Let's go.
Hopefully.
Wrap all your arms around him, and let's bring a championship to Chicago.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Go Bears!
Get me excited.
Oh, Bears! I heard it here from.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, little dick
sports. It's a fan.
Go there.
Go for it. Yeah.
Nice, dude. What is that? What one you got there?
It is
Cuban?
a San Cristobal.
For sure.
From,
That's the only time I smoke cigars.
Are we bouncing into this other draft we're doing, gentlemen?
The childhood?
Guys, I actually have to bounce. I wanted to stop by for a little bit and say what's up, but I got to help my wife with a few things around the house. I haven't left my office since like
Emily.
Shout out Emily. But thanks a lot for having me.
Hey, thank you for tuning in, man. At least come
Dave,
by.
thanks for jumping in, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'll see you in less than 24 hours, Chef.
I'll see you tomorrow, man. Cinco de Mayo party. Tilt style.
Hey.
Pacifico, what should I bring?
You know,
I know
Juan
loves tequila.
Yeah.
Tequila. All right. I got some at the bar already.
Casamigos.
All right, man.
Casamigos.
I will show up tomorrow with a bottle of Reposado, and I'll be slurring my words by the end of the Tilts is real.
Let's go.
I'm ready for it. Take it easy, fellas.
Shout out Dave.
Later, Dave.
Shout out Dave. And like what Jeff was saying, childhood TV shows, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get it.
Oh, let me zoom this in for you real quick. All right, childhood TV shows. So I obviously grew up in the 90s, a little bit different than you. So not sure what you guys might have encountered out there, but here we are. Well, let's do 3 rounds. Jeff, you're up first. Chef.
So my pick is Animaniacs.
Oh.
I'm taking the Animaniacs. You know that the shorts, they're perfect for a kid's attention span. They're hilarious. They're great to watch as an adult. So I think that it's a slam dunk pick to take out of that era. Animaniacs.
See, I didn't grow up on that. I have no idea what that is.
Oh,
Chef.
Corey, you would love Animaniacs.
Probably.
I mean, childhood shows, it beats nothing more than waking up on, what was it, Saturday morning or no, Sunday morning cartoons. You get home from church. This is back when I had a family and we actually did family things. We come home from church, sit down, and my dad would watch Looney Tunes with me, man.
Looney Tunes.
So Looney Tunes is number 1 for me. It has to be. It's the 101 in my book. Yep, you got it. It's Looney. It's crazy.
All right. Oh my God. So I'm on the clock here. I didn't expect 2 of these to be on here, and I don't know what to say here, bruh. Fuck. All right. Well, I guess I'll just have to go with SpongeBob then.
All
right. That was big in my generation. Yeah. I don't know.
There's no wrong answers here, Corey.
People are watching SpongeBob right now. They're not watching Animaniacs or Looney Tunes. That lets you know about childhood cartoons.
Looney Tunes is actually the longest going cartoon on air still, I believe.
Well, everyone prefers SpongeBob, I think, right?
All right. Well, then
I know, dude. It's
reverse order, man. Take your second then.
Oh, I'm up. Oh, Tom and Jerry, dude. Easy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Tom and Jerry. See, I wanted to go him there, but I kind of forgot I would have switched these picks. I forgot that I was back to back here. I would have took Tom and Jerry first, but I took SpongeBob because of the, I don't know, the hit, like the big factor. And I kind of, a lot of people in the industry might also be a little bit younger here coming up. So that might be on my side. So I went for that aspect, but Tom and Jerry classic, I love that one. Mouse and Rat and all that stuff. Shout out that.
All right, so Jeff has 2 picks behind me, so I don't know if this one's going to make it back to me, so I'm just going to go with one of my all-time favorites, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man.
Ooh, nice.
That was number 4 on my list.
Oh, yes.
So it was a good pick by you, but it was still would have got back to you if you didn't take some. I get number 2 on my list. I'm taking DuckTales I love Ducktales. It was.
I love Ducktales. Woo-hoo.
Everyone loves Ducktales.
Old as shit, dude.
Fantastic. So, hey, what are you doing out here, Corey? No, I love
young.
Ducktales. So apparently, and then I'm up again. So I'm switching up the vibe completely for my first two. I'm taking the X-Men animated series. So that was came out when I was a little bit later, not a young kid, but absolutely love it and saw every episode. So I'm taking that one there.
All right. And then speaking of seeing every episode, I've must have watched these growing up back to back to back to back. And it was Thundercats, man.
What?
You could not get away with some
list.
Thundercats.
The hell is Thundercats?
Oh man, Corey, check it out, man. It was like the early
We're
animated
aging.
series. Man, it was probably back in the late 80s. It almost made a comeback in the 90s.
Bro.
It almost made a comeback in the 90s.
LeBron was all about the Thundercats. Remember LeBron and Mo Williams? They'd call each other Thundercats. And then when LeBron left Cleveland, Mo Williams was like, "I thought you were my lion." Is it
My Lino?
Lino, yeah.
Damn. All right, so I'm up back to back here. Do I do this one? I don't really. Which one did I? All right. Shit. Fuck if I know. All right, I'm gonna go with Arthur here.
Okay, I see that.
See, I mean, this is vastly different. Y'all had these other ones here: Animaniacs, Looney Tunes,
We're
Ducktales.
out of your demographic.
We had some vintage.
Arthur, and then I'm gonna take Pokemon. I think that's a classic one. Go along there with X-Men.
Yeah, that's gonna take some picks, definitely.
I have to go Poke. That's classic, dude.
Oh, and do I
Oh
do it?
no! I didn't
And
put
then-
one in. I just thought of one.
I think, and this show was big. Like, I guess
Come
it started when I
on.
was like 11 or 12 years old.
I don't want Arthur.
It wasn't a.
Arthur's kind of a lame pick. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, all good too.
Arthur's one of the best.
My 5-year-old
childhood-
loves Arthur, but we don't really let her watch it yet. But
And this
it's
is like, these are non-sitcoms. We're talking about like kid shows. So I was at the tail end before, I started getting into middle
I don't want
school
Arthur.
when kid shows were still cool. And I hit the tail end of it. And that was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, man. Power Rangers.
That's what I wanted. That's what I
was
just
big.
thought of.
And Corey let it fall to me, and I'm just gonna pick it up and run with it.
That's
And
what
I
I
have
just
a lot of
thought
violent
damn it.
picks. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Damn
Thundercats,
it.
Power Rangers, and then light on the front with Looney
Damn.
Tunes. But
so all these have been cartoons so far, but that one
Power
kind
Rangers
of,
was
Hannah
not.
Montana.
kind of well, yeah, I'm going somewhere here, Chef. So Power Rangers kind of starts to switch up the vibe, and so I'm going to what we're going to do here is we're going to take the steal of the draft, and we're going to take Saved by the Bell at the 4th round. I am going to win this draft by a large margin.
Saved by the J Bell.
Saved by the Bell, slamming
taking
it home here. Waited to pull it out.
He's taking Arthur off.
Fucking forfeit that pick.
Just forfeit. There's no pick there. I don't want to show that to the public.
Arthur's one of the best, obviously.
I've never watched an episode of Arthur, but Saved by the Bell, Jeff, that was a great pick.
How old is shit?
That's right.
Here, let's look.
That may have been one of my. Yeah, it's definitely in my top 5.
All right, here, let's see.
It was probably better than Power Rangers.
Let's
Corey, what
see.
are you looking here? We gotta be careful with these tabs, Corey.
What? We're good, bro.
You're not live.
You
man.
should be careful with tabs.
Be very careful with tabs. You're not live.
No,
But so that was our childhood show draft. Jeff with a strong 101 pick, Animaniacs, followed by Looney Tunes, myself, SpongeBob. Corey, I thought you had something built in there, Tom and Jerry, and then you came in round 3 with Arthur,
Arthur's
which
great.
it may be somebody out there favorite childhood show, but definitely not mine. But you scooped up Pokemon, and Pokemon is going to be one of those generational things. It's been around for over 20 years now. There's apps. You can still go out and catch them all. But I'm liking my odds. I mean, I think Jeff, I don't know about the Animaniacs. I liked the show when I was a kid. It never topped the original Looney Tunes for me.
All right, you ready for this, guys? You ready for some data?
Oh, some data? Oh, you got data on these shows?
Right here. 35 most nostalgic TV right there. First, Pokemon. Second, Courage. And then do you see number 3?
Is this the list you drafted off of? Was this your cheat sheet?
No, I'm just finding this right now. Look at that. Arthur's number 3. Shout out Arthur.
SpongeBob's number. So according to this apparent random list that
look
Corey
at that,
found,
Animaniacs
number 7.
Animaniacs. Ed and Eddie. Oh, that's a good one. Oh,
Scooby-Doo. That was a good one.
Wow, Pinky and Dexter's Lab. Shout out Tom and Jerry. Let's go. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh. Who watched that? Where's Pokemon?
Yeah, like
Pokemon was at the top, wasn't it?
Was it? Oh,
yeah,
I think it was. Pretty sure.
Yo, Rugrats. That's a good one.
Yeah,
what Rugrats is this site? I liked
Recess was one that I liked when I was a kid.
That was on mine, dude. I love Recess too. And
no way Jackie Chan Adventures is better than Looney Tunes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just someone's opinion right there. But they had Arthur third.
Yeah.
That's my type of fucking website. All right, what are some dark horses? So you said Recess. I like Rocket Power. Kim Possible, I was a fan of. Shout out that little mole rat.
What about Doug?
That was okay.
Doug was funny. Just kind of Doug funny. Get it?
Doug funny.
And Patty Mayo. Patty salad cream.
And when I was really young, I liked Muppet Babies.
I liked
Jesus,
Muppet Babies.
Yeah, this is too much.
And there was one, and just to bring it back to football a little bit, do you remember, Jeff, because you're my age, do you remember the old like the football mascot cartoons?
That's not where I thought you were going, because I remember. Do you remember the cartoons that had like Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky, and then there was like maybe Michael Jordan. It was like I forget what it was called, but there was like it was all the best at every sport were solving crimes or something like that.
Oh man, I remember growing up and watching this. Like,
do you ever watch Mike Tyson Mysteries?
No,
that's good shit, man. That's really funny.
Wow. No, never.
Well, it's on I think it's on Cartoon Network, but it's it's not for children. It's animated, but I really enjoy it. So I'd highly recommend Mike Tyson Mysteries if you ever check them out.
Mike Tyson.
I remember growing up and there was like one for the Jets and the Bears, and the Jets was like a plane and the Bears were
Jetson?
Obviously was a bear. But no, it was great. Like it was like a little Viking and everything like that. I can't remember the name of it, man. I'm trying to find it here.
Was Bam Bam? Was that the Jetsons?
Bam Bam was Flintstones.
Flintstones, dude. No one even thought of the Flintstones. And I took Arthur.
I stand by my list.
I loved Arthur.
I stand by my list. I got my top 4 picks.
Fairly Odd Parents, dude. That was such a good one too. I
did no prep for this draft, by the way. It was just flying off.
I just wrote a couple down. I was like, oh, for sure.
I can tell. That's why I won.
These are good.
Oh, Jeff, don't claim yourself the winner yet. You know what? Anybody that's watching this,
we'll put the poll out.
We are definitely putting a Twitter poll out on who won
Arthur fans. I'm putting it out there.
Draft.
Please come to my rescue.
Corey, stop lobbying for Arthur.
Big ass football head, dude. Shout out football. If you like football, you like Arthur. You're welcome.
Right. Well, guys, I this was great, man. I'm loving this. I'm loving this new vibe that we got going here. Just sitting around, kicking it on Tuesday night, 7:00 Eastern Standard Time, coming off the edge. Like we said at the top of the show, we will be bringing you a different perspective on fantasy. It's not all about the numbers, although sometimes it is. It's not all about watching film, grinding. It's about building relationships and having a great time with your friends and talking fantasy football. And other things as well that go along with that, because you find, and maybe Arthur, if you're interested in that, but it's about finding things that you have in common with other people and people coming together and just, showing love for one another. Shout out to the whole Chaos League crew. Thank you, Dave, for coming in, stopping in and talking some ball with us. We really appreciate that. And we look forward to having some fun for the rest of the season. I mean, we're just kicking 2021 off.
With Arthur.
With that being said, I'm James Crease. You can find me at ff_chef on Twitter. Jeff?
I'm Jeff Bell. You can find me at For Whom J Bell Tolls on Twitter.
Yeah, Corey Spala. I don't care. Thank you. I picked Arthur.
Shout out Arthur. We're out. See you guys next time.
Thank you for coming in. Check us next week, Tuesday. Shout out everyone.